The sun burned hot over Dust Creek, a forgotten town on the edge of the western frontier. The streets were quiet, wind carried dust across wooden porches, and every man knew trouble was near. Once a peaceful place, Dust Creek now lived under the shadow of outlaws. A lone rider appeared on the horizon, a cowboy with eyes hardened by the years. He carried more than a revolver at his side, he carried a story of betrayal and revenge. The townsfolk watched as he entered the saloon, boots striking the wooden floor like a warning. The cowboy wasn't here for drink or company. He was here to settle a score that had been left burning for far too long. Stories of the Wild West often spoke of courage, loyalty, and gunsmoke. But Dust Creek carried whispers of something darker. Years ago, this cowboy had lost everything to a man who called himself a friend. Now the same man ruled Dust Creek with fear, backed by hired guns and greed. The cowboy remembered every detail: the night his home was set on fire, the sound of laughter as everything he loved turned to ashes. Now he had returned, not as a victim, but as a man ready to take back his honor. Dust Creek's people felt hope and fear in equal measure. They had seen outlaws before, but never had they seen a man ride into town with eyes that told them justice was coming. The frontier was a cruel teacher, and only the strong survived. Dust Creek had become a place where silence meant safety, where no one dared speak against the outlaw who ruled them. But this cowboy refused silence. He walked the streets slowly, studying every face, every corner, every shadow that might hide danger. His hands stayed close to the holster, and his mind stayed sharp. People stepped aside, knowing this man was not just another drifter passing through. He was here with purpose. Word spread quickly across the town. Some prayed he would succeed, others feared the blood that might be spilled. But everyone knew Dust Creek would never be the same after this showdown. As night fell, lanterns lit the streets, and tension filled the air. The cowboy stood by the edge of town, looking toward the hills where outlaws made their camp. He thought of the past, of promises broken, of friends turned enemies. The Wild West had no mercy for the weak, and he had learned to be strong. Dust Creek's sheriff, long powerless against the outlaws, approached the cowboy with a warning. But no warning could stop him. The outlaw who once betrayed him had to face judgment, and the cowboy was the only one who could deliver it. The silence of the town was heavy, broken only by the sound of boots and the faint cry of a coyote in the distance. Morning came, and with it, the weight of destiny. Dust Creek gathered in the square, knowing something unforgettable was about to happen. The outlaw and his men appeared, confident, armed, and ready to strike fear. But fear had no place in the cowboy's heart anymore. The people of Dust Creek saw in him not just a man, but a symbol of resistance. His every step echoed with determination. He had waited years for this moment, and nothing would take it from him now. The outlaw sneered, mocking him, but the cowboy's silence spoke louder than words. The Wild West thrived on strength, and soon strength would decide who walked away and who fell to the dust. The streets of Dust Creek had seen gunfights before, but never one like this. Time seemed to stop as the cowboy faced the outlaw, two men bound by the past and by revenge. The people held their breath, knowing history was being written before their eyes. In the wild frontier, justice came not from courts or lawmen, but from courage, skill, and the will to stand against evil. As the sun climbed higher, Dust Creek was forever changed. The cowboy's journey of revenge was not just his own, it was the town's fight for freedom, a story etched into the dust and wine of the Wild West. And long after the smoke cleared, Dust Creek would remember the day one man stood tall and turned revenge into justice.